Gustav Vasa, also known as Gustav I of Sweden, is often credited with being the founder of modern Sweden and one of the most pivotal figures in Scandinavian history. His reign marked the beginning of the Swedish Empire and a transformation that shaped Sweden into a unified and independent nation. His life is a testament to resilience, political savvy, and the drive for national sovereignty. Early life and background. Gustav Vasa was born on May 12, 1496, in the town of Lindholmen, today part of Gothenburg, Sweden. He was the son of Erik Johansson Vasa, a nobleman from the powerful Vasa family, and Cecilia Mansdotter, whose family had ties to the aristocracy. Gustav's early life was one of privilege, as he was raised in the traditions of Sweden's noble class. His family had holdings in Småland, a province in southern Sweden, which would later play an important role in his rise to power. At the time of his birth, Sweden was part of the larger Kingdom of Denmark under the rule of King Christian II. The union between Sweden and Denmark was fraught with tensions, and by the time Gustav came of age, his homeland was embroiled in a struggle for independence. The Swedish nobility and the common people were dissatisfied with the Danish king's authoritarian rule, which would ultimately pave the way for Gustav's later involvement in the country's liberation. Captivity and escape. In 1517, when Gustav was 21 years old, he became involved in the growing discontent against the Danish king Christian II. That year, he was captured by the Danish forces after trying to rally support for Swedish independence. Gustav was taken to Denmark, where he was imprisoned in the fortress of Copenhagen. Despite his captivity, Gustav's resolve to free Sweden remained strong. In 1520, following the infamous bloodbath of Stockholm, in which King Christian II ordered the execution of over 80 Swedish nobles, Gustav's role as a symbol of Swedish resistance was solidified. The mass killings fueled a nationwide rebellion. In 1521, Gustav escaped from Denmark with the help of sympathetic allies, returning to Sweden to begin his campaign for independence. He rallied supporters and, with the backing of Swedish peasants, began a revolt against Danish rule. The Swedish War of Liberation. Gustav's leadership during the Swedish War of Liberation, 1521–1523, was marked by his ability to unite various factions under a single cause, the expulsion of the Danish crown. He was strategic in his military approach, using both his noble birth and personal charisma to gain the loyalty of the Swedish people. Over the course of several years, Gustav and his forces gained control of much of Sweden. In 1523, after a series of military successes, Gustav Vasa was elected King of Sweden. This marked the official end of the Kalmar Union, which had previously united Denmark, Sweden, and Norway under a single monarch. Gustav's ascension to the throne was a direct result of his leadership during the liberation struggle and the widespread desire for a Swedish national identity free from Danish dominance. Reign as King of Sweden. Gustav Vasa's reign began in 1523, and he ruled until his death in 1560. His rule marked a turning point in Swedish history. As king, Gustav Vasa worked to consolidate his power and strengthen the central authority of the monarchy. One of his first acts as king was to secure the kingdom's independence from Denmark, a goal that had eluded previous Swedish rulers for centuries. To solidify his power, Gustav reformed Sweden's government and military. He introduced the concept of the modern state by centralizing administrative control and increasing the influence of the monarchy over local nobility. Gustav's reforms in taxation and military conscription allowed him to build a powerful army and navy, which were instrumental in securing Swedish dominance in the Baltic region. Religious reforms and the Protestant Reformation. Another defining aspect of Gustav Vasa's reign was his role in the Protestant Reformation in Sweden. In the early 16th century, Martin Luther's ideas about church reform began to spread across Europe, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church. Gustav, a shrewd politician, saw an opportunity to increase his control over Sweden by breaking with the Roman Catholic Church. In 1527, Gustav Vasa enacted the Act of Västerås, which established Lutheranism as the state religion of Sweden. He effectively took control of the Swedish Church, dissolving Catholic monasteries and seizing church lands. The Swedish Reformation was a significant turning point in Swedish history, as it further distanced Sweden from Catholic Europe and reinforced the king's control over both the church and state. Legacy and death. Gustav Vasa's legacy is monumental. He is often called the father of modern Sweden because he established the foundation for the Swedish state as it is known today. Through his leadership, Sweden became a centralized, independent kingdom. His reforms in governance, the military, and religion set the stage for the rise of Sweden as a European power in the 17th century. Gustav Vasa's reign also left a lasting imprint on Swedish society and culture. He is credited with laying the groundwork for a strong, national identity. Additionally, his role in the Protestant Reformation reshaped the religious landscape of Sweden and much of Northern Europe. Gustav Vasa died on September 29, 1560, at the age of 64, after ruling Sweden for 37 years. He was succeeded by his son, Erik XIV, although his family's legacy continued to influence Swedish politics and governance for generations.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.